We launched in Canada and UK beginning of actually middle of 11, where we really tested out the concept. Could it travel? Was it, was there an audience for it outside of the US? Of course, HuffPost before then was a very US phenomenon, so we needed to test it out. We did that on our own because in Canada and UK you have strong AOL presences. So, and it's obviously the language, it's English, so it was easier to kind of test it out there. What we realized very fast was that the model traveled, the technology worked well abroad, the reception with the local audience was fine, as long as we made sure that we had a big enough local component, so making sure that it wasn't just kind of an international version that we tried to localize, but actually was a local version that we actually put a little bit of the international flavor into. So with that approach, we realized that if we wanted to really move fast forward and also make sure that it was local enough when we went into a market, we needed partners. And we also had ambitions, to your point. We wanted to launch 10-15 markets in a very short time period. So then in France we decided to go with Le Monde, who's obviously a well-established newspaper and has been around for 100 years. And in Spain we did it with El País. We've done it with La Repubblica in Italy. So we've chosen, you could say, traditional media players, not because that's the only sort of partner we could choose, but because a number of them has not really done the transition so well into online, and there's a lot of learnings that they can get out of this. And of course what it gives us is instant credibility in those markets, because even though Huffington Post, the project travels well, outside of the media industry in France, as an example, people on the street are not necessarily as aware of what Huffington Post is. So obviously it gives a lot of firepower to do something with Le Monde, who's a household name in France, and with El País and La Repubblica in those markets. So that was the reason why we decided to go with partners. Another thing that's actually important when we go with the local editions is that we try to find, even though it's very difficult and I'd say perhaps even impossible, to find our local Ariana. Because what we realized when we did it in Canada and UK is that if you don't have that kind of spokesperson, media personality, then it's very difficult for us to kind of attract the right kind of blogging community, the right kind of engagement. So we've done that in the markets where we have launched so far, and we will keep doing that because it is a key component to what Huffington Post is all about. So kind of what's coming next is really the next wave of markets. And last year we kind of went international. This year we really want to go from international to global. And that means that we need to launch in the last continents where we haven't launched, which is Asia. So Asia, we're launching, we've already announced we're launching in April, May with Asahi Shimbun, the second biggest newspaper in the world. And after that, we will go to Brazil, where we expect to launch middle of the year. And then we have a launch that we haven't scheduled yet, but will happen within the coming month in the Maghreb countries, which is North Africa. And with those kind of things done, then we actually have a global footprint, because then we're in kind of most of the major continents, and then it's down to kind of filling the gaps. So we still kind of want to go into markets like South Korea, India, Russia, but beyond that, that's really, that is, for now at least, that's the global footprint we're looking at, and we're very excited about that. And until now, we've been with the local partners. We've been quite successful with the model. All of the markets we have launched, we are ahead of the plan that we put together with the local partners, both on traffic and on monetization. So it looks, at least at this stage in time, that we're actually doing well with our international editions. As soon as we have proven that the HuffPost Live model works at scale in the US, then there's no doubt that it's something that we want to take to other markets. at this stage, we don't have a plan for what are the markets like we have for Huffington Post, but there's no doubt it's something we have at the back of our head. But for this year, the focus is really on getting distribution for HuffPost Live. So really, scaling what it is we have. Our 12 hours of live streaming, I think, is very high quality. We've been able to attract a very interesting crowd of guests, and have had a great reception with the community. So I think now it's really about blowing that up, and that needs to happen online. But we're also considering taking it actually, offline, so into cable, even though that was not kind of where we kind of originally wanted to go with this, but we think that there's a huge opportunity with that, and there's been a lot of interest from some of the cable guys in kind of what it is we're doing, and trying to see if we could do something together to that end.